Next up, I want to talk about drafting. This is a big one that probably more than you're being brand new. Definitely, if you're anyway, everybody should probably check this one. All right. Ooh, how do I even start with this? All right. The main thing that you want to do is set a target draft. Never set this number to be something like 95. In fact, I'm going to give you a range, and you probably don't want to change it. Like, there are other ways to change it. Anyway, usually people are going to be drafting anywhere from like 60 to 75. Let's say that 60 to 75. 60 is very low for most people. And usually the people that draft at that rate are people that run very high amounts of homes in their build. I'm not going to get into the math behind all of that, but if you're having a build that has a lot of homes, it both means that you can go higher on your draft rate, but also means you can go lower on your draft rate. So I'm not going to really explain that. Let's just talk about the draft rate. So you put a number there, right? I have 75. I never really reach it, right? Unless I'm getting change or whatever. But like in a normal situation, I'm never really going to reach this. Why? Because I'm going to be changing this. Oh, you can't see it. Actually, it's a drop down. Okay. So you can change this to none. You can change it to reservist, normal, aggressive, and emergency, right? I'm changing this a lot based on how much money I'm making, what my military and thief population is, how close I am to this number here will change it all. So the gist is the more military and thief population you have, the less economy you're gonna have. Now, how does drafting work? Well, you have peasants, right? They comprise of a certain amount of your population. When you draft them, they become soldiers. Soldiers are what you use to train these units. You can use soldiers for other things, like exploring. It requires a certain amount of soldiers. For every acre, you need 6. In my particular case, I need 6 soldiers for every acre I want to explore, as well as some gold, right? You can also use soldiers to attack. Notice how I can send soldiers here. Now, they're very weak. Their attack power is 3, so not great. There are some races, mine included as orc, that have a spell called aggression that increases their attack power to 5. So you can use soldiers with the spell aggression to have a little bit of oomph and extra offense in your attack. But anyway, the main point of this is you draft from your peasants, they become soldiers, you train them into these. Peasants are your primary source of income. So if you're drafting a lot and you start getting low on peasants, your income is going to decrease, right? Right now, my daily income is this. If I have less peasants, that number will go down. Now, the income is basically something around the lines of 3 gold per peasant, give or take. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but let's just say 3, all right? So each peasant gives you 3 gold. So I have about 8,000 peasants. That equates to about 24,000 gold, right? Now I have boost to income because I'm running banks. I have 14% banks, which increases the base amount as well as the modified amount. And I have science in income that increases it. So with all of that put together, my daily income is this amount. Actually, let's show you a quick test here. Let's put all of these points into income. 3,000 points into income. Allocate. 13.3. This number should have gone up. Unless it didn't. It might not be updated. You might have to wait for new tick for it to actually. But anyway, that number should go up. So yeah, so that's how you determine how you should be drafting. So if you're noticing that you're getting a lot of soldiers but not enough money to train them all, then you probably want to change your draft rate to something lower. Are you running at emergency? That's really expensive. You probably want to drop to at least aggressive. Now, I will tell you that most of the time, you want to stick to either normal or aggressive. Most of the time, I'm usually on one of those two. Now, depending on your econ and your situation, yeah, you may want to drop it to reservist or even none. Let's say you're really close to this draft rate, your goal draft rate, you may not even want to be drafting it because your econ is going to be so bad. So that's basically the gist of drafting. But the reason I'm talking about this and the reason why it's important is because we've had a lot of people either drafting too high, this number being way too high. I think I saw somebody have like a 90% draft once, and that's way too high. You never want to do that. And they drafted all the way to 90%. So they couldn't train any of those soldiers. They couldn't make any money. That's just, they do it. And then I've seen people that their draft rate is just too low. Maybe they never remember to change this away from none. You at most of the time you want to be at least at reservist. But you want to make your economy, your builds and stuff work for you. So where you're making enough money to probably be able to train your troops even at a normal rate, which is what I'm currently doing now. Right now I'm working on my offense. So I'm training that. Now you can see how much it costs to train that much. It cost me 28,000 to train those goblins, and I'm making 23,000, right? So right now, drafting at a normal rate, I'm making a little bit less than enough to train all of the troops that I'm drafting. But since I have a little bit in reserve already, then that's okay, right? I could probably even do aggressive for a couple of ticks and pull it off, but then I'd have to drop it back down to reservist or something. So to alleviate not having to check all the time and constantly be changing your draft, the goal is during end of war ceasefire or during like a pump phase during peacetime, that's when you really want to focus on your training, make your econ builds and train as much as you can. But then when you're kind of in war builds and you're in this waiting game, trying to find a war, doing back and forth, then you want to really be careful with your economy, because we want to be able to fund dragons. We want to be able to help other people hit. You should already be pumped to a certain level. Again, the reason why I'm under pumped is because I've gained a couple hundred acres, so I'm still filling in those acres. And it takes time, and that's fine. Okay, that should be it about draft. Ask questions, please, if you aren't understanding the concept of drafting. Oh, real quick, wage rate. Unless you're in end of war ceasefire, just keep this at 200. It's worth it. 200% gives you this military efficiency. So you have a base efficiency of 112.6 at the bottom, offense and defense. That's both offense and defense. There's no reason to not high, because wages, yeah, they're expensive, but they're not that expensive, right? Now, what you could do every once in a while, like if you're playing, checking every tick or very often, very frequently, you could do something like, okay, next tick, I'm gonna do a really low wage rate just so I can make that extra cash so I can train that thing. Just don't forget to raise this back to 200 afterwards. Now, I think it drops faster than it increases. So if you do one tick at 20% wage rate, I think you have to do like 2 ticks for it to get back up to what it was before. So be careful with that. I'm not sure about that exactly, but anyway, the simple thing is just keep it at 200, focus more on your econ. All right, that's it for drafting.